everyone, it's me, the Anti-Beauty Queen, and I am so excited for today's video because I love feeling nostalgic, and that is all what this video is going to be about. It is the 90s kid tag video, and I'm going to be tagging a bunch of you, so look down below to see if you've been tagged. And I mean, if you're a 2000s kid, you can still do this video and just answer the questions accordingly to kind of the era that you were born in. But I was a 90s kid. I was born in 1986, so I got to live my prime youth years in probably the best decade, I think, to ever happen. So if you were a 90s kid, let me know in the comments below. And without further ado, guys, I'm going to answer some questions, so let's get into the video. My favorite TV show, I had a few, because I was really, like, TV was just a big influence in my life. That might sound crazy to some of you other kids who weren't maybe allowed to watch TV as a kid, but TV was a big thing in my household, so I had a ton of favorite shows. I think my favorite shows that I can remember would be Are You Afraid of the Dark? I really liked Goosebumps. I loved anything on TGIF, so like Step by Step, Boy Meets World, stuff like that. But I also remember being really obsessed with things like Boston Public, Ally McBeal, The X-Files, so I can't really pinpoint a favorite TV show, but I mean, I had a ton that I would probably still watch today if they were on TV, and I own a lot of the box sets of some of the things that might be a little bit embarrassing, like Dinosaurs. Does anyone remember that show? Ghost Rider, that was mint television, couldn't go wrong. Favorite toy, and this is going to be really hard as well because I was an only child, so I kind of got spoiled, maybe a little too much, and I had a lot of like excessive amounts of toys at any one time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was a spoiled, rotten kid, and I had a bitchin' bedroom full of toys, so it's really hard. Okay, I had a Talk Boy, which probably was like the shining achievement as an 8-year-old to own. It was this like recorder that you could like record your voice in. It was really popular because it was in the movie Home Alone 2, and every kid wanted it. And I actually got it because my mom and her friend went to New York because at the time it wasn't even sold in Canada, and they went to FAO Schwarz, and I think it was like the last one left, and I got it. So I was a pretty popular kid that month because all the kids wanted to play with the Talk Boy. I had Dream Phone. Bitchin'. It's literally a game where you sit around with your girlfriends or boyfriends, didn't matter, and you got to play this like who's who of the popular boys, and you had to answer on this big old tonkin' cell phone looking, like, it looked like a payphone, that's how big it was, this big pink phone. And the questions and the voices were so funny because it was like the same voice, I'm pretty sure, that answered for every single guy. And it would be, he looks cool, and whatever he wears, he's not wearing a tie. It was so inappropriate for a small young girl to have and own, but who cares? It was awesome. For me, it was probably those really cheesy PSAs that, like, don't you put it in your mouth, don't you put it in your mouth, ask your mom and ask your dad, like, I don't know, those ones about, like, drugs, like, drugs. And I think, too, like, the best PSA they ever had was when Rachel Lee Cook was in the kitchen, and she was like, this is your brain, and it was an egg, and then she, like, goes and smashes a bunch of shit, and then she's like, this is your brain on drugs. Any more questions? That's TV gold. So, by far, the cheesy PSAs. NSync. No, Backstreet Boys. Hanson. I mean, I don't know, Backstreet Boys or NSync. Like, that is probably the toughest decision one 13-year-old girl who was living in the 90s had to make, because I loved Nick Carter, but I also loved Lance Bass. And I mean, Nick Carter ended up, like, a really fat meth head, and Lance Bass like doesn't even like girls, so I don't know. Hanson, because I was obsessed with Zach, or like the littlest one, the littlest Hanson brother. I was obsessed with him. I told everyone I was going to be his wife. I mean, it obviously never happened, but I did go to the NSYNC concert, so maybe that's like a sign that I liked NSYNC more. Hanson, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. But if Nick Carter was in NSYNC, then it would have been NSYNC, like, out of everything. But then there was O-Town. Does anyone remember O-Town? Oh my god, I can't even answer this. Okay, Hanson, final answer. Weirdest fashion trend. Okay, and I hopped on this fashion trend, the mushroom cut. Does anyone have embarrassing pictures of them with a mushroom cut? Like, the mushroom cut, I don't even know if is like a significant thing. I don't even know if kids today would even know what you're talking about if you refer to the mushroom cut, because it literally made you look like a dick. If you guys had a mushroom cut, you know my pain. It was so trendy back then, and I don't know why. And I don't know why moms allowed any of their kids, boy or girl, to cut their hair like that. And I think every major actor and singer had a mushroom cut, and that's why we all wanted a mushroom cut. But that probably was the weirdest trend. Favorite collectible? Oh my goodness, because I collected a lot of shit when I was a kid. It was weird. I collected rocks. I collected like dinosaur memorabilia. I collected Harry Potter stuff. Dragonflies. I don't know. I had a really weird like obsession with collecting certain things, and then people would just like give me those things for 5 birthdays in a row because I was obsessed with it. I think like collectible Pogs. Big time, especially when Pogs were like big, big, big. I mean, I was like the coolest kid on the block because I had every friggin' slammer that you could ever even hope or dream for. And I mean, all the older kids and all the older boys would try to bully me for my slammers, but I stood my ground because those slammers were like 75 cents more than your average Pog. But Pogs, for sure. And I think every kid had Pogs. I think every kid. Beanie Babies were another thing I was obsessed with. I think I just was obsessed with everything. Every aspect of life I was obsessed with. I had a stupid amount of Beanie Babies, and my mom would get so pissed off about all the Beanie Babies that I would want. Then you were told by everybody,
don't play with them. Don't take off their tags. If you take off their tags, then they're not going to be worth anything.
And we had all of these hopes and dreams that if we got certain Beanie Babies, we would then be millionaires by the time we were like 25. And clearly that didn't happen. They're sitting in a box in my mom's basement. You lied to us, Beanie Babies. But I will say my favorite Beanie Baby was definitely the Bat Beanie Baby, which I think his name was Batty, which was so clever. Okay, Tamagotchis were like hardcore. Nanos, Tamagotchis, because I think Nanos came out first. So I never owned a Tamagotchi. I owned 2 Nanos, and it was this little, if you don't even know what I'm talking about, they're these like little egg computerized toy things that you would use as a child to like grow either a dog or a baby. I think they even had dinosaurs and cats. They had so many different things. And you had to like start off, the dog would hatch out of an egg, which is completely like inaccurate. Like, thanks for screwing up how I view life because you told me that a dog hatches from an egg. And then you would then make your baby grow until, I don't even know, because I never got past like 3 days. But in my elementary school, Tamagotchis and Nanos got banned because kids beat the shit out of each other because one kid would bring a Nano to class, it would get stolen, and then another kid who would just like happen to have the same Nano would get like his ass beat or handed to him because they thought they stole each other's Nanos. Like, it was hardcore, and like the more you had, the more gangster you were. And I remember there was like this one occasion where we were getting our class pictures. I was in grade 6, so this is like prime 90s. And we all wanted our picture taken with this goddamn Nano hanging on a string that it would sit like right here. So that you could be like, bitch, I have a Nano. And so every single kid was fighting over these Nanos, and then my teacher was just like, get a fucking grip, kids. So she banned them, and then we never got to use them ever again. Halloween Town, for sure. Favorite Disney original TV show. Favorite music artists would be the Spice Girls. Hands down. I loved everything about them. I was devastated when Jerry left. I went to their reunion concert, which was amazeballs. And did I just use amazeballs? I really did. I have to stop talking. Favorite Nick Jr. show? I didn't have Nick Jr. I didn't even have the Nickelodeon station because, again, I was Canadian and we didn't get that kind of programming. I don't know. Probably the Fun Dip. Like, Fun Dip, that was really good. I didn't really eat a lot of candy as a kid. I ate like a lot of like junk food. I don't know, maybe Fun Dip, Fun Dip. Favorite board game, and I mean I touched on this with like the Dream Phone, but that wasn't my favorite board game. I'm gonna have to say Jumanji, and not a lot of people know that this game even existed. Obviously it's because of the huge popular movie Jumanji, which was also a 90s classic, and it was just a really weird, cool game. Favorite book series would have to have been the Goosebumps series. And I mean, that's not a real brainer. I think every kid loved the Goosebumps series. But I also liked the Fear Street stories. I was really into like reading like teen horror books back then when I was a kid. I think I would probably still read them now if they even had them, which I don't think they do. But my favorite book I think would have had to have been the Dummy, like the ventriloquist dummy series in Goosebumps, where he came to life and his name was Tommy or Timmy. I don't know. Let me know if you guys remember reading that. I still have it. It was a thick ass book and I think I read it like 4 or 5 times. I was such a weirdo when I was a little kid. Like, when all the girls were going into Roxy or like things like that, like Billabong, I was still like sporting like my E.T. shirts, my Jurassic Park shirts, because I was more of a tomboy, so I wasn't really fashionable when I was a little kid. I didn't go to the coolest stores. I pretty much wore whatever came to theaters that month, and I was able to buy a shirt from that favorite movie because I was like a film geek when I was a kid. So I had a lot of friends that were boys, and we all just kind of like sported our Jurassic Park shirts when all the girls were wearing, like, I don't know what was cool back then. Roxy, yeah, stuff like that. So I didn't really have a favorite store. So I mean, I wasn't really fashionable as a kid. I'm still not really fashionable. I'd still prefer my Terminator 2 shirt over anything that I wear. But that is it, guys. I really hope you liked this video. I had such a good time making this because it just brought me back to when I was a kid, and it just makes me remember all of the stupid shit I did or the things that I was obsessed with. I feel like if I could go back and be friends with my 10-year-old self, I totally would, because we're still into the same weird shit. So I think if you guys can do this video, it doesn't matter what era you kind of grew up in, I would highly recommend it because it is so fun to make. So like I said before, I'm going to tag a bunch of you down below, so check that out. And if you like this video, give me a big likes up. And if you haven't already and you want to join the anti-movement, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. I'm all over the interweb with the username AntiBeautyQueen. I'm on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, so go find me there and we can be friends outside of YouTube. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you on the flippy flop. Bye! It smells like old woman. That's so awful. I don't know why I'm not writing descriptions for products because, you know, old woman who bathes in rose petals, that would be such a hit.